Well, welcome everybody. I'm going to give us a minute or so while more attendees are logging in here. Okay, looks like the attendee list is stabilized. Hello, my name is Jim Widman. I'm the chair of the Mechanical Engineering Department, and I want to welcome you to our Virtual Admitted Students Day. We're excited that you're here. I want to extend a really big congratulations to all of you students who have been accepted into our program. That really is quite a testament to the hard work you've put in to date and the knowledge and skill and enthusiasm you have. And so we're excited you're here and want to tell you a little bit about our program. We've got several activities going on in parallel. So first we're going to have about a 25-minute introduction to the department. So I'm here joined with Professor Jennifer Poyker and one of our senior students, Jessica Dent, who's going to tell us about she will tell us about her experience here at Cal Poly Mechanical Engineering. I did want to take a moment at the beginning to acknowledge the challenges we're all facing and with the COVID virus. And I do want to send out our wishes for everyone's health and safety. And we do wish you all the best in these really troubled times. And I do want to send out also a special thanks for all those folks who are doing essential services and probably putting themselves in harm's way. We really appreciate this. So how's it going to work? You're part of a webinar, so you can't actually talk to us, so we won't be able to hear you, nor see you. But you could put questions or comments in the Q&A at the bottom. We may have a hard time answering those, so we have a breakout sessions after this presentation where there'll be more chance to ask questions. We have had some technical issues, not surprising as we do this for the first time, and we've had some meetings that just end for no particular reason. If that happens, just click on the link and come back in a couple minutes we'll all be back there. So I hope that doesn't happen, but if it does, just click on it again. So what we're going to show you is what is considered one of the premier undergraduate mechanical engineering focused programs in the United States. And I think we'll kick that off, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Poyker, who will tell us a little bit about the program. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Widman. So first thing we want to talk about a little bit is what is mechanical engineering. You all checked the box when you applied here, and mechanical engineers are involved in almost every industry. We have aerospace, transportation, including automotive, human-powered like bicycles, underwater vehicles, energy, including power production, energy usage in buildings and other places. We also have a fire protection program, and mechanical engineers are involved in basically helping our human race imagine, create, design, and solve problems. We also have biomechanics and prosthetics. So the question really is what do you want to do? What problems do you want to solve? And how can we help you get to where you want to be? So Cal Poly Mechanical Engineering will help you to achieve your goals here. How do we do that? Well, at any university, the first year you go to or you major in engineering is going to include math, chemistry, physics, and general education classes. And the same is here too. The difference at Cal Poly is that from day one, you will have hands-on learn by doing. So from the ME Mechanical Engineering Intro Lab, such as down here, where you will be doing mini design and build projects, we'll take apart a lawnmower engine, to the drafting classes that link our machining classes. You basically are going to draw it and make it. You will take a machining class, a casting class, a welding class, and you will learn how to work in the machine shop safely. So from day one, you will get to be hands-on, learn by doing. And this is the exciting part about Cal Poly that makes us different. This learn by doing continues into all parts of our university. We have unique facilities here that all students are allowed to use. for class and club projects, such as our machine shops that you can hear about later in one of our breakout groups. The other cool thing is that we have student shop techs that help. Jessica will actually talk about being one of those. And they're there to assist you and teach you how to use all these tools that you get to use to build and do things on that. So check in to the other webinars for that. So our Learn by Doing then continues throughout all our curriculum. We have in our classes, we have projects and whatnot, and especially in our many labs. So that is one thing you may hear about Cal Poly Mechanical Engineering is we have a lot of labs, but that is a cool benefit that we have, and it's unique for what we get to do. So in our classes, we have projects you get to design and build and test. So these pictures here are all from our actual classes of real things that our students are doing almost on a weekly and daily basis. All right, so the other thing that these classes prepare you for is being able to work, preparing you for internships and full-time employment. Many of our classes take field trips, and clubs also will host field trips to job sites or other manufacturing plants and whatnot. So you can see really what goes on at engineering firms. Other really cool thing we have are all our industry partners. They will sponsor projects, both club and in classes. They act as coaches, such as you see here in the picture, and support all the work we do. We are so fortunate to have such industry-sponsored and partners that will help you get to where you want to be. The other thing Cal Poly offers are multiple career fairs every year, where hundreds of companies are coming to hire you guys. Many of our freshmen also get internships, and this is probably one of the most successful things we have at our university is just the fact that our students get hired through these career fairs and other networking events. So it all comes down to here, you may have heard about the senior project. It's a year-long senior project in mechanical engineering, again, that we emphasize the design, build, test aspect. And there's many, many different types of projects you can choose from. Many are industry sponsored, and they have a real life aspect to them. The one I want to kind of highlight here is that on the side, you'll see the paddle board, adaptive paddle board. So this group of 4 gentlemen designed an adaptive paddle board for somebody who could not walk. And not only did they get to design and build and test it for their classes, but they actually got to take it out to Morro Bay and test it with the actual client there. So we have real hands-on experiences for you guys to do. And it doesn't matter, no matter what you do, you can find yourself here and make an impact on your world and community. And along the way, all us faculty are here to help you out.
Thanks, Jennifer. And I want to make a little comment about that faculty. Here we have a nice picture of us at our fall retreat, but the faculty came to Cal Poly because they primarily wanted to teach. So we are an undergraduate focused institution. Teaching undergraduates is our primary concern. So this sets us a little bit apart from a research school, one like a UC might be, where there a faculty's job is about 90 to 100% to 110% to do research and work with their graduate students, and they do a phenomenal job of that. We, on the other hand, probably spend about 2/3 of our time to 3/4 of our time teaching undergraduates. And that's not to say we don't do research. There's many research opportunities for undergraduates, and that's where we focus our research efforts. So the faculty here do research and with a lot of different fields and work with undergraduates and give them the experience, especially for those who want to go on to grad school, because we do a phenomenal job of preparing our students for graduate school. So with that, I want to turn it over to Jessica, who is a senior in mechanical engineering, and she's going to share some of her experiences here.
Hi, I'm Jess. I'm a 4th year mechanical engineering student. Like you said, I just was invited to tell you a little bit about my experience here at Cal Poly. Can you go to the next slide? Sorry. So yeah, when I first got here, I joined Engineers Without Borders. It's a club that's focused on international development. So the interesting thing about it is that the communities reach out asking for us to do engineering projects within their communities, and often these are in less developed nations. So I worked with Engineers Without Borders Thailand, and really got a ton of experience with applying engineering to helping people. And that's really what I wanted to do when I did come to Cal Poly. I want to do engineering to help people in the environment. So this is a really great opportunity. So I actually worked on the Thailand filtration project, which should be the next slide. So what we did is a water filtration project within a rural Thai community. This is really great because you got to work directly in partnership with that community. Really got a global perspective, and it was really incredible of an experience to actually go build something that I had helped to design. So yeah, would definitely recommend Engineers Without Borders, and this is just one example of all the hands-on projects that they have at Cal Poly. Also during my freshman year, I joined Baja SAE. This is a team that designs and builds an off-road dune buggy. You can kind of see on that picture on the bottom. And that is basically, we always go to national competition. And I learned so much from this group as well. There's a really cool culture within many of the clubs within mechanical engineering of older students teaching younger students skills. I came in with little to no experience with manufacturing, and by the end of the year, I was very, very comfortable with all the machinery, the composites, everything that went into competing with this vehicle. It was really, really great experience. Like many of the Cal Poly clubs, they design and build everything from scratch. So it is something you're very proud of and you learn so much from. And one quote that I think somebody always said when I was a student as a freshman on this team is class is where you get your education, clubs are where you learn. And that's really stuck with me through my time here. There is such a great education and it is so very hands-on, but there's something about really taking what you've learned and applying it that really you learn so much more with the clubs, like on top of your normal education. That's something I really want to emphasize Cal Poly is really, really great at. So another thing that drew me to is the machine shops. So if you have the chance to go to the breakout session on that, I definitely recommend that. I actually am a student technician at the machine shops. We have two machine shops. One's called Mustang 60, the other one's called The Hangar. They're both full of different machinery from welders, mills, lathes, wood shop. Like I said, I didn't know much of anything and now I work there. So there's definitely so much room to grow at this university. And it's really a really awesome community where people are helping, like students are helping other students put their class projects and senior projects and club projects to work. Really designing something that is easy to manufacture is actually quite difficult, and it's necessary in pretty much every field of engineering. So to have that experience, Cal Poly really prepares you for that. So yeah, another thing, I've been working on my manufacturing concentration. I think you can learn more about that. You don't have to pick your concentration quite yet, but it's one of the cooler ones in my opinion. You really get to learn a lot about manufacturing. You get to take really cool classes. Cal Poly, again, just the learn by doing aspect really prepares you for this. I've been able to use CNC mills just for class, things like that. It's definitely something I'd recommend. Yeah, and so then to tie it off a little bit, I actually was really interested in renewable energy. When I first started, there was not an energy resources concentration, but now there is. So for those who are interested, that's really something I'd recommend if you're interested in working in the energy industry. But I looked around and didn't really see any clubs at Cal Poly that were focused on wind energy. So my friend and I are actually able to start it, and we'll be competing in the national competition called the Collegiate Wind Competition. And so we've had so much support from the university, from the department, to get something off the ground and rolling. And that's something that I think Dr. Udman touched on earlier, but the faculty really are here to help support you. And that's something that is not something that you can take for granted at a lot of universities. So I definitely would recommend, if you want to start something, there's tons of support out there to help you. Yeah, and so I was just going to tie off with why I chose Cal Poly. I'm from a smaller town. I wanted to stay somewhere not necessarily in a huge city. And I love, if you've had the opportunity to visit San Luis Obispo, the surrounding area is incredible. I've done backpacking, hiking, everywhere in between. Yosemite's not that far away, Big Sur, all of that. And just the opportunity to be outside while I'm taking my classes has been something that's been really refreshing and great for me, as well as, like I said, that learn by doing, really being able to get my hands dirty, learn. Sometimes you fail and you try again, and that's a process that you don't get when you're doing theoretical stuff as much. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing why I chose Cal Poly is kind of the culture here. It's much more collaborative than competitive. Most people are here to help you kind of grow and learn. I know there is no typical Cal Poly story, but there is so many opportunities to kind of build yourself your own. And I know I've grown a lot in the last 4 years, so I definitely would recommend coming here.
You're muted, Jim.
Thank you, Jennifer. I was muted. I could talk for a long time muted. I'm sure my students would appreciate that sometimes. Unfortunately, in class, they don't have a mute button for me. Thank you again for coming. We're a little bit ahead of schedule, and I think that's probably because the three of us were dealing with some technical issues right before this started and got a little anxious. So we zipped through things faster than maybe we normally do. You notice I took myself off the video because I was typing answers to some of your questions that were in the question box there, and I have a funny computer where the camera's down low, so when I type it looks very funny, so I have to turn my picture off. Now that I have a chance, I think I'll try to answer some of those questions. One that has come up is, how long does it take to graduate from Cal Poly? This has been a big question. The graduation rate, the 4-year graduation rate for our department this year will probably be around 33%. So that's 1 in 3 students will graduate in 4 years. There really isn't any major barrier to graduating in 4 years. And there's a lot of reasons students don't. So, for example, many of our students get multiple quarter internships, with SpaceX or Apple Computer, and they like to have students for 6 months. So if they have them for 6 months, a student will not graduate in 4 years. They might graduate 4 years and a quarter. And you'll see more than half of our students do graduate 4 years and a quarter. Another reason some of our students don't graduate in 4 years is they go on study abroad for an entire year. We have some great study abroad programs. And sometimes, it's a great experience, but sometimes you can't get all your engineering courses there, although we work very hard to make sure you can, but it might take an extra quarter if you do that. Another reason is many of our students choose to enroll in our blended master's program. So we have a program where as you get near finishing your bachelor's, you can stay an extra year, and you don't get your bachelor's right away, so therefore you don't graduate in 4 years, but after 1 more year, or maybe a year and a quarter more, you get both a bachelor's and a master's. And if you look at every one of our students who do that, they would have graduated in 4 years, but they don't, and that's a really good reason. So there's many good reasons. Sometimes students get very involved in extracurriculars. Jessica was telling you about all the activities she's been in. They're great learning experiences, and if you're involved and really learning things, there seems to be no reason to graduate in 4 years. Now, there are some other reasons. Some students do get in academic trouble, and that can set them back. Some students really enjoy that we're 10 minutes from the beach and take low unit loads every quarter. And engineering is an intense degree, so you do need to take 16 to 17 units a quarter if you want to graduate in 4 years. If you take 12 and enjoy the beach, well, you might not graduate in 4 years. So there's a lot of good reasons. We work really hard to make sure there's no barriers. Every one of our required courses is offered every quarter. So you for example, take our senior project, you can start that any quarter. So we really work hard to make sure that there's no barriers. If somebody wants to graduate in 4 years, that's really important to them. As long as they're in good academic standing, that's a totally reasonable expectation. Little harder for transfer students to graduate in 2 years, mostly because of prerequisites. We are working on a program this summer that if those transfer students can, they would be able to take some courses over the summer, the newly admitted transfer students, to hopefully speed them up. But it usually takes a transfer student more than 2 years. But by 3 years, almost all of them have graduated. So it's between that 2 and 3 year range. let's see. Some other questions about different concentrations. Within mechanical engineering, in about your third year, you can declare a concentration, and we have 5 concentrations. One of them is called the general concentration, which really isn't a concentration at all. You take your elective classes and just whatever interests you. That is actually the most popular. After that is the mechatronics concentration. So for students who are interested in robotics or autonomous systems like self-driving cars or drones, things that have a microprocessor on board, involve some software, maybe some sensing systems, and integrating all that, the mechatronics concentration would be the one for you. We also have energy resources concentration for those interested in renewable energies or even nuclear energy. We have classes in nuclear power. And that's a fairly new one, but that's available. We have a manufacturing concentration where students take their elective courses from the manufacturing program here, which is a great complement to the design skills you learn as a mechanical engineer. And we have the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, and heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration concentration. I almost forgot refrigeration. Dr. Poiker's smiling because she's one of the co-directors of that concentration and teaches a lot of those classes. So that's, like you might expect, the heating, air conditioning systems in buildings, which consume an enormous amount of energy in our country. So efficiency is always a big concern there too. So those interested in renewable energy, that there is a definite link there. And they have great industry sponsorship for that. As a matter of fact, for most of our program, we have really good industry involvement. Let's see, is it hard for an engineer to study abroad, for instance, in finding classes? So I mentioned that sometimes that if you want extended study abroad, yes. If you want to go for a whole year, it may be difficult to get all the classes. We have partnerships in Munich, Germany. As a matter of fact, Dr. Poiker spent a year there on exchange herself as a professor. And with this university in Munich, we worked really hard to make sure that the courses match and we can advise our students, and they're taught in English. So if you go there for 1 or 2 quarters, we can be pretty sure you're not going to get behind and you're going to keep on. We also have a very popular program in Madrid, Spain, with a lot of classes that we know match. We have another program in San Sebastian, Spain, with the university there, the TecNUN, where again, we've had faculty stay there for a year. We've worked with them in the curriculum. But we also have partnerships in Australia where you can take engineering classes, Sweden, and then there's all kinds of other opportunities where maybe you can't take engineering classes, but if you go spend 6 months in Rome, you get a great experience there too. So, but we do, one of the breakout sessions, if you're interested in study abroad, will be on that topic. So you, the students there can tell you about their experience and how they set that up. What focus choice would be best for desire to work in the auto industry? I like that question because I'm from Michigan and I did used to work in the auto industry. My father actually was an engineer at Ford Motor Company for 35 years and I used to work at Ford Motor Company. The general concentration is great. For that, you can also get involved in our Cal Poly Racing Club. And that's a club that designs and builds a gas mini formula car, an electric mini formula car, and a Baja race car every year to compete. We also have a super mileage club that builds a very high mileage car, maybe 18 to 2,500 miles per gallon, and they have a competition every year. And so getting involved, the general concentration is great for that. You can take courses, and then getting involved in those clubs can really set you up well for a career in the auto industry. And actually, my younger brother still works at Ford Motor Company, and he is now the chief program engineer for Ford Performance. So he's done quite well. So, okay. I got one. By when do you have to decide if you'd like to do the blended master's program? You basically decide that in your last quarter or two. Well, you can decide earlier, but you can apply for it during your last quarter before you graduate or 2 quarters before. So you need to be, I think, above 85% complete. And then we have our graduate advisor. And as a matter of fact, one of the breakout students, we will have a graduate student in who could talk to you, who's going to talk to you about his experience in the graduate program. But you can start planning for that well ahead of time, but the actual application happens pretty close to when you would have graduated as an undergraduate. And question, where can I find a recording of this session? So that's a great lead-in. So let's go to the next slide, Jennifer. So you're going to find the recordings of this session at the same place that we're going to do breakout sessions. So we have 6 different breakout panels coming up. They're scheduled to start at 3:30. Now, ideally, you could click on the screen and there'd be a link, but we couldn't figure out how to do that. So instead, you need to go to the ME department's website. So that top bar up there, me.calpoly.edu, and that'll take you to our homepage. And from there, you can click on a link that'll take you to this OH-2020, Open House 2020 page. And there you'll have links to this session. Don't click on that, you're already here. But there'll be links to these 6 breakout groups. That is where we're going to post the recordings as well. So this page will have the recordings afterwards. I think it'll probably take us about a day to get them there. So Jennifer's gone to our main site. She's going to click Virtual Admitted Student Day. So this is where you can get those links. So one of the breakout session will be students, 5 students who participate in different clubs. So we'll have Cal Poly Racing there. We'll have the Cal Poly Amusement Park Design Engineers Club there. We will have Jessica will be there for the Wind Power Club. I'm losing, I can't remember the other 2. Goodness, too much on my mind. I have them listed right here on the side. We are going to have the American Society of Mechanical Engineers Club, and we're going to have the Human Powered Vehicle Club, who just actually set a collegiate speed record last year. We'll also have the Women in Mechanical Engineering Club. Jennifer will be there. So for those who want to find out more about the experience of being a woman in mechanical engineering, and the number of women in mechanical engineering continues to grow, and we're no different here at Cal Poly. We have an exciting group there, and they'll be able to answer questions about that experience. We have a panel on international exchange opportunities. So Dr. Brian Self will be there with 3 students who have studied abroad in different places, and they'll be telling you about their experience. We have another panel with a couple students who have had fantastic internships through Cal Poly, are now back here finishing up. One of our graduate students, and then probably most exciting in that one will be an alumni, Sylvia Mora, who started Cal Poly as a dreamer, went through the DACA program, graduated as a first generation student, worked at Lamb Research, is now working at Zoox up in the Bay Area, and she's exciting to listen to. We'll have another breakout panel where the labs and machine shop, we're going to have 2 faculty members who are actually going to be live in our labs with their cameras. So we hope that one works out. And then we'll have a couple students there who, like Jessica, work in our machine shops to support student projects. And then the last one, the Q&A with me, I'll be back at about 4. I'm actually going to change that. I'm sorry to do this on the fly, but we had some technical difficulties. So I'm going to make that 4:15. So 4:15, but I'll keep going. Well, as long as there's questions, I'll keep going. I don't have to cut off at 5 because where do I have to go? So that last one will be at 4:15. So that pretty much concludes what we have to present. And let me click on this. And Jennifer, do you have anything to add? Before we let people go?
Just make sure you guys go in. We might be starting a few minutes late because we have to all kind of switch over to where we're doing it. And there are still a lot of questions open. I wish we could have had a chance to answer them all. There are great questions. So if you don't get them answered in the next half hour or hour with the other breakout groups, definitely come back to Dr. Widman. And then you can also send emails to the ME department.
Yes, and the ME department email address, which is listed on the website under the contacts, is me-dept@calpoly.edu. So you can find that there. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and maybe I'll see some of you at 4:15. I hope you enjoy the breakout sessions, and I want to thank Jessica again for doing such a marvelous job. And then I guess we can all clap, but we'll wave goodbye.
All right.